the quaint port town of Eldermere, tales were thick in the air, whispered among fishermen and townsfolk alike. They spoke of the ocean's mysteries and shimmering waves that concealed dangers beneath their surface. Marco, a seasoned sailor with years etched into his weathered face, stood at the helm of his ship, preparing for yet another voyage across vast waters. His crew bustled about, each member lost in their tasks but attuned to their captain's words. He tied knots with practiced hands. Marco gathered his men around him and warned them of the Sirens, enigmatic beings whose hauntingly beautiful voices lured sailors to their doom. Earful stories filled the evening air, weaving tales of ships lost to depths swallowed by melodies dancing upon waves like silver fish glimmering under moonlight. Meanwhile, Isla wandered through Eldermere's narrow streets. Her heart pulsed with a desire for adventure as strong as the tide crashing against rocky shores. In taverns spoke of recent disappearances, linked to strange music echoing across night skies, call beckoning sailors away from safety into darkness. A spark ignited within her. She felt drawn to these fabled songs despite knowing their potential peril. Twilight draped its velvet cloak over the horizon. Isla strolled down to the beach. A gentle lapping of waves provided a soothing backdrop while shadows grew long and stretched across fine sand. She heard a faint melody drifting in from beyond the shore, delicate and ethereal as if spun from dreams themselves. A sound wove through her thoughts like tendrils of mist curling around ancient trees. With each note floating through cool evening air, an irresistible pull tugged at Isla's heartstrings, an invitation wrapped in danger's embrace. Warnings echoed in her mind like distant thunderclaps. She stood transfixed by this enchanting call. A song enveloped her senses completely, its allure brightening every corner of her imagination while shadows danced just beyond sight. Darkness deepened around her. Isla took a hesitant step toward the water's edge. Droplets splashed against her ankles and sent shivers up her spine. A melody swelled over her spirit like a warm tide washing away caution. The world faded, as if painted by an artist who chose not to finish his work. On those waves, what secrets were hidden within those alluring notes? Each question was swallowed by longing as she allowed herself just one more moment before retreating from its grasp, a single breath full of salty sea air. Tasted richer than any other evening spent on land. Isla stood captivated by this haunting serenade, the first chords whispering promises. Untold, Captain Marco sensed something amiss aboard his vessel anchored nearby. Beknownst to him or his crew members busy with preparations for dawn's departure, an unseen current stirred beneath calm waters where echoes intertwined between reality and illusion. In both worlds, the ship preparing for adventure, and a young woman teetering on temptation. Fate awaited its cue. As night deepened further into enigma under star-kissed skies, the ship glided smoothly across the water. In the silver glow of the full moon, a night felt tranquil, yet an undercurrent of tension lingered in the air. Captain Marco stood at the helm, his experienced gaze scanning the horizon, mindful of the legends that haunted these waters. A haunting melody floated over the gentle lapping of waves. Began softly and ethereally, but quickly transformed into an enchanting chorus that wrapped around each crew member like a silken thread. If entranced by some unseen force, their heads turned towards the source of the sound. Some crew members exchanged nervous glances while others leaned overboard, their eyes glazed with fascination. A siren's song surged through them, tugging at their hearts and igniting long-buried yearnings for adventure and freedom. Captain Marco's heart raced as he recognized this familiar danger. He had warned them about this very fate. He called out to his crew with a firm voice, reminding them of their duties and urging them to stay focused on their course. His words were met with resistance as some began to argue against him, convinced they could follow the melody just this once without consequence. To Marco's dismay, one bold sailor stepped forward and prepared to leap into the abyss below. Desperation, Marco reached for an old talisman hanging around his neck, a protective charm gifted by his grandmother who had spun tales of sailors lost to sirens long before he was born. He clutched it tightly as he shouted commands to regain control over his vessel. But fear alone could not combat such allure. It wove itself into dreams and aspirations laid dormant for years. 1. Crew members succumbed, some weeping silently as they battled within themselves, while others laughed madly in surrender. Midst this chaos stood Isla, her adventurous spirit wrestling with both curiosity and caution. Captivated by beautiful melodies drifting across her ears, she sensed something dark lurking beneath, a warning that tingled along her spine. He took a deep breath and looked towards Captain Marco, who remained resolute at the helm, valiantly struggling against rising tides of despair among his crew. There was still time, she felt it in her bones, but knew they needed more than determination, they needed unity. Isla observed her fellow sailors entrapped in spellbinding reverie. Understanding dawned upon her. You would have to be brave enough to face whatever lay ahead, to confront not just those haunting voices, but also what they represent, the desires held captive within every soul on board. With newfound resolve forming inside her chest like a spark ready to ignite flames of courage, Isla began searching for anything that could help awaken those trapped in harmony with danger's embrace. She could reach even one heart amidst this gathering darkness. The night stretched onward like an endless dreamscape where reality blurred into fantasy. However far from safety they drifted now rested solely upon Isla's shoulders, the only beacon amid shadows tightening their grip upon unwary souls drawn deeper into Siren territory. Her heart raced while adrenaline surged through her veins as she made up her mind to not only save herself, but rescue her companions from their own longing for something beyond comprehension, something truly perilous yet undeniably captivating all at once. The stillness of night, Isla found herself on the brink of an extraordinary encounter. A haunting melody grew stronger as she paddled her small boat away from the familiar shoreline, each stroke propelling her deeper into the unknown. The ocean's surface shimmered under the moonlight, a deceptive tranquility masking the peril that lay ahead. Mist rolled in like a whispering shroud. Isla caught sight of two figures emerging from the depths, the Sirens. Their mesmerizing forms draped in scales glimmered with ethereal light, hues shifting like watercolors flowing seamlessly through twilight. Their eyes glowed with an otherworldly intensity, captivating and unnerving all at once. Drawn closer by their beauty and song, exhilaration and dread intertwined within her heart. A siren's voices wove around her like silk threads spun by unseen hands. Each note resonated deep within her soul, awakening desire she had never dared to acknowledge. They sang of adventure and freedom beyond imagination, a world where land-bound worries faded into mere memories. Yet beneath their enchanting facade lay a darker truth. Their songs held fragments of lost souls trapped in this liminal space between reality and illusion. Isla gazed closer. Shadows flickered behind them, faces twisted in longing or despair, forever yearning for release from this melodic prison. The air thickened with tension as Isla realized what was at stake. She stood at precipice not just for herself, but for those who might follow her path. That moment of clarity amidst enchantment, fear mingled with courage surged through her veins. He understood that this was not merely about curiosity. It was about resisting temptation that could ensnare others unwary enough to heed the call. Determined to confront these alluring creatures while staying true to herself, Isla steeled her resolve against their tightening grip upon her consciousness. A part of her craved to join them, to slip into their world, painted with fantasy. A flicker of awareness reminded her of Captain Marco's warnings and stories told by old sailors, lined with wisdom earned through countless trials on tumultuous seas. With all her strength summoned from within, Isla broke free momentarily from their spellbinding melodies echoing around her like ghostly laughter teasing at edges of sanity. Home rushed back warm embraces, and family ties woven over years, spent beneath starlit skies, drawing strength from connections lasting beyond time or place. As she began to paddle back towards safety, cloaked under stars twinkling overhead like distant lanterns guiding lost travelers, homeward the Sirens' voices rose anew in desperate harmony. They seemed wounded yet relentless as they pleaded for understanding amid painful truths, hidden beneath layers of seduction wrapped tightly around them. Isla sensed their sorrow mingling with desire. There lingered an undeniable connection between yearning hearts across chasms carved by fate itself, a strange kinship binding adventurers both drawn forth towards danger while seeking solace. Too far outstretched on horizons brimming only with uncertainty, Willing to let go entirely, without attempting one last reach across waters separating them both worlds, she whispered words laced gently, with hope intended solely for ears able truly comprehend meaning entwined therein. I see you. And thus began a delicate dance played out upon waves restless beneath shimmering moonlight, a tapestry woven between dreams spun from visions passed alongside quiet understandings forged anew in fleeting moments shared across empty spaces. Worn apart yet somehow connected eternally through bittersweet enchantment, softly lingering among shadows drifting ever onward. Captain Marco's heart pounded in his chest as he realized Isla was missing. Heavy stillness enveloped him, as if shadows whispered secrets of impending doom. He turned to his remaining crew, their faces pale and eyes wide, still entranced by the Siren's melody fluttering around them like a ghostly whisper. With a commanding presence born from years at sea, Marco gathered what remained of his crew on deck. They stood before him, some swaying gently as if caught in an invisible current. Here they were fighting against an unseen force that sought to pull them away from their ship and into the depths below. Determination glinted in Marco's eyes. He could not allow this enchanting song to claim any more of his crew. He recalled the stories told by old sailors' tales filled with incantations and charms meant to protect against evil spirits lurking within seductive melodies. Memories flooded back. He rummaged through his belongings until he found the very talisman gifted by his grandmother, a relic infused with protective magic. Holding it high for all to see, Marco spoke firmly about their shared history, the bonds forged under sails and storms alike. He called upon each sailor's resolve, urging them to remember who they were and why they had set sail: for adventure, for camaraderie, not surrendering to illusions spun from haunting tunes. Then Marco rallied his crew with powerful words echoing through the night air. Isla remained suspended in her trance among the sirens. Otherworldly beings surrounded her with voices dancing around her mind like mist swirling over water. Her melodic lures wrapped around her senses tightly yet left room for trepidation at the edges. This mesmerizing realm illuminated by soft glows emanating from shimmering scales and luminous eyes. Isla saw fragments of lost souls trapped within pools of light, ghostly reflections of those who had succumbed before her. Her silent pleas reached out like hands desperate for liberation, while she felt herself teetering between two worlds. At deep within her being lay an ember of strength, the realization that she must confront these creatures who sang songs both beautiful and deadly. Focusing inward amidst cascading music echoing through ethereal realms, Isla summoned courage bubbling up like tides crashing against cliffs. If sensing this shift in energy amongst themselves, the sirens focused intently upon her. A momentary stillness enveloped them all as Isla broke free from dulcet temptation gripping her tightly just moments prior. Recognized now what must be done. This enchantment needed disruption. A chant spoken aloud would shatter its hold over everyone caught within its grasp. Meanwhile, aboard the ship, Captain Marco gathered his crew members close together beneath starlit skies. United in determination fueled by love for one another rather than fear alone, they began reciting protective incantations passed down through generations. Flowed steadily phrases woven together with strands of hope, tethered them strongly against temptation seeking dominance over their hearts. They chanted harmoniously alongside each other, voices rising above turbulent waters. The world shifted noticeably, waves surged higher, as though responding fiercely against danger lurking just beneath surface tensions threatening to rake apart everything once known. The sirens recoiled slightly at first, their alluring melodies faltering momentarily before regaining strength again. But Isla's voice surged forth alongside Marco's crew, resonating with unwavering conviction fueled by unity forged amidst adversity became louder than seductive calls beckoning sailors towards doom. With combined willpower building momentum across seas painted silver under moonlight, Isla stepped boldly forward toward mesmerizing figures cloaked in shadows. Earning desperately for freedom too, no longer merely a captivated soul, but an embodiment fighting back against dark forces vying silently beyond sight. The surge created ripples across water surrounding both realms, magic intertwined. Between hopes raised high above despair mingled seamlessly throughout every ounce present. Together Isla led her crewmates back through treacherous waters, while confronting desires held captive within each heart battling temptations. dancing playfully along currents flowing wildly all around them. As they navigated toward safety, beneath twinkling stars sparkling brightly overhead amid fading echoes reaching far beyond shores, where darkness lingered softly, each individual felt transformed after facing down fears previously unrecognized, though confronted head-on during trials faced together, finally breaking free from oppressive enchantments lingering long after departure echoed throughout waves. Creating whispers carried forward with every passing sailboat destined, next time find themselves drawn closer, yet wary listening carefully always aware. So it was that they escaped not unscathed but alive with siren songs trailing off behind, as warnings reverberated throughout future journeys embarked upon evermore.